No one on YouTube is sharing these N8N hacks. They can help save you over 5+ hours a week building workflows. How do I know? Well, I've learned about them by building out workflows for customers and by making well over 60+ N8N videos on this YouTube channel. These hacks will show you shortcuts on how to write in text within nodes, build mock data, format results, and more. If you want the JSON to follow along this tutorial with, well, it's in our free school community, which recently just hit the 200 member mark. You should definitely join if you want to network with others who want to learn about AI to freelance and also scale their business. With this intro out of the way, let's jump right into N8N and start learning. See, we have quite a few examples here to go over today, and we're going to start off over here with example number 1. In this case, we're going to talk about how you can create multiple items from JSON. So what we're going to take a look at first is this JavaScript node. How you can find this, you click this plus icon over here and go into code. Inside N8N, you can find both JavaScript as well as Python code nodes. However, I just find it's pretty easy to use JavaScript, and a lot of people are familiar with JSON. I'm from a Python background. I prefer that, but I feel like a lot of you guys will know how to set this up pretty easily. So all you got to do is go into this JavaScript node. And what I'm doing is typing in return. I have this bracket. And then essentially what I'm doing is I'm passing in data in this format. So you can see I have JSON, and then I define what we're creating over here. I've listened to Talking Heads today, so I just put some of their more popular songs in over here. And you can see title, song name, title, song name, title, song name, title, song name. And guess what? Title, song name. So I'm going to go over here and execute step. You can see we're going to get our schema, which again just has this only one example. However, if you go into table as well as JSON, you'll see that we have multiple examples. We are specifically 5 items. And why this could help? Well, I see a lot of people struggle building out test example use cases. They'll often build out an edit set node, and they're going to be stuck at one example where you can easily, if you follow this format, build out multiple items relatively quick. And if you give this format into a AI such as like ChatGPT or Claude, you can build this out even easier. Just define what the JSON wants to be and then say, hey, fill this out for this specific use case. So this only has, one specific column in a table. What happens if you want to take a look at multiple? Well, so what we can do is go over here and just add in more. So what I have over here is the song title, I have the album, and then also the year. So again, it's defined in this JSON. Oh, I also added in an ID, which I don't think you specifically need in this instance, but regardless, it's in over here. So we have ID, you put a colon, put the number, title, colon, and since this is a string, we have double quotes. Album, colon, again, string, double quotes over there. A year, since this is a number, there's no double quotes. So you can follow that format. If I execute that over here and I jump into the table, now you can see we have a column for ID, a column for title, album, as well as specifically year. So hopefully that is pretty helpful for you guys. And now what we're going to do is jump into how we could do this within the edit set node. And we're also going to add in another node, which is going to be the split out one. So let's take a look at that right now. Okay, so for our second example, we're going to take a look at the edit set node. And just jumping in over here, what you're going to need this time is an array. So you have multiple different types of data that you could use within edit set. You have string, you have number, you have Boolean, you have array, object, as well as binary data. When you work with an array, you need to make sure that you have these brackets here at the very end on each side. So you can see I have the brackets, and then I have each of our items, which we'll be using here in a second, within double quotes. So this is because these are all specifically strings. So first one, we use Talking Heads. This time we're going to use Goose. We have a few of their more popular songs in over here. And you can see at the very end, I close it out. And it's really important that you guys keep this format with an array. You have commas in between, space, and keep it like that. Now, if this is too hard to read, you can always expand this out, which we're going to talk about this a little bit later. But And regardless, you can put an array over here pretty easily. And if you go to the output, you'll see that we have goose songs 0, 1, 2, 3, and we have this information over there. You can see how it looks like in the JSON side of things, and then as well as the schema. And you might be saying, well, that's great. You mentioned multiple items. How can you actually achieve that? And let me show you that now. So we go into split out over here. All we have to do is drag and drop our goose songs array, which has each of these songs in over here. What's really nice about this approach is essentially what we can do is take our array, which comes in as one item, then we split it out, and then we have 4 items here at the very end. So again, just jumping back in, all we did is pass in goose songs, and then we took that one item, which was that array, and then we have 4 items out over here. You don't see this in the schema view, but when you go over here, you see give it time, hunger site, Hoffman, and then also your direction. And you can also see we have 1 item coming in, and then 4 items. So again, just another use case. So you can either go over here and define this within one node within the JavaScript node, or you can go over here and edit set an array, and then also split that out. Again, a lot of people really struggle building out this test data, and this is one way to do it. Okay, another hack for you guys. What we're going to do is take a look at something that is a focus panel. So I don't ever see these in YouTube tutorials, so this is pretty cool. We're going to use an AI agent over here, and we're just going to click into it. So you can see that we have this prompt, and I have not defined any prompt at all, and I didn't even really think about it for this lesson, but we have this icon over here, and it says this is a focus parameter. So if we click this, what we have over here is our inside of our AI agent, and we can define our prompt here on the outside. What's kind of cool is we can actually like work around, and let's imagine we have a pretty large workflow, and we can actually go through the workflow while defining whatever we want as our prompt. And this works with other nodes as well. It's not just an AI agent, but you can say this is an example prompt over here, and let's click out of this as well. And then we go back into our AI agent, and you can see this has been saved. So, if this is a cramped space and you want to write all your information here on the right like this is pretty helpful. And again, you can use expressions as you want over here as well. So if you want to drag and drop things a little bit earlier, that is available to you. But for when you're building out pretty lengthy prompts, this typically happens within like a system user prompt. The system message can be quite extensive. This gives you a lot more space. Another way that you can find a lot more space as well, and I just put this as the bonus example. I find this a lot when I'm writing my system messages, is literally just go over here, and then you can expand this out. You can also go over here, and let's say we want to have a system message. And again, you can just expand this out. On some of the nodes, you can actually pop out information. So if we go back over here, for example, edit fields, you can pop this out, and it gives you a much larger area to work with. So you aren't typically crammed in these small areas. Either the box will expand out, or you could expand it out like this. And I just find it quite more useful, because things can get lost pretty easily over there. Okay, let's continue moving forward. And now what we're going to do is take a look at an HTTP request. Now, I know this is a pretty complicated node for a lot of people. In fact, I have a full 1-hour video here on the channel talking about all the nuances of the HTTP requests and how you can set up different APIs. What I just want to show you really quick is how we could specifically build this out in an N8N workflow. And we want to grab in an image online and use this as a binary file. What a binary file is any sort of file here in N8N, and this can't be used within our 3 different data types that we typically see, right? Whether it's the schema, JSON, or table. So let me show you how that works. And so what I have over here is this HTTP request. All you got to do is click this plus icon, go into HTTP request like that, and what you'll see is I'm keeping this very default. We have our get, we have our URL over here. I didn't even change any authentication. And all I did is I grabbed this image over here. And just to show you guys what this image looks like, this is a baseball card of the legendary Joe Jackson back from 1914. This was put into Cracker Jacks. I don't know how many people are familiar with those, but it's essentially like a popcorn candy that's given out at baseball games. And anyways, back in the 1914-15 era, they used to give away baseball cards over here. This is a very, very valuable baseball card. In fact, I think in this grade, it's like well over $50,000, if not more. I could be way off. I haven't paid attention in a long time on what this card goes for. And you can roast me down below because I love cards and I don't really know on top of my head. But regardless, what we're going to do is we're going to pass in this image into our N8N workflow really easily. So all we need is our HTTP request. We paste in the URL and you can see, boom, we have it over here, and you can go over here and view it. And our file is particularly in here. And it's really, really easy. I showed you guys how we could do this as well in our recent video where we talked about Nano Banana Pro. Well, we get this URL in Nano Banana Pro. And essentially what I wanted to do is download the files so I could upload it back into Google Drive. And this was the approach that I used over there. And I thought it would be kind of helpful because I've used it with other image workflows as well. And again, just something I really haven't seen too much here on YouTube. Okay, another thing that I see that's pretty popular is people want to do some sort of testing and they don't want to run a node all the time. So I'm just going to show you two approaches really fast on how we could do that as well. So the first way that you could do this is by deactivating a node. And if you click on a node, you'll see at the very top, there's three different options as well as these dots. So this over here plays a node. So this just runs the node in general. The second one turns off the power of the node and it deactivates it. So this node will no longer run in a workflow. And then this is the trash can. So it deletes a node. So if you don't want to run a specific node, let's say you're doing some sort of testing, or like this was an expensive API and said, hey, I just don't want to run this again. You can just deactivate it like that and you can turn it back on. So, and you'll see over here, we have text here at the bottom that really says deactivated, and it's kind of nice. The other way that we could apply this approach, let's say you're using an API and you have your initial data and you don't want to keep spending it. One of the things that I do all the time is pin data. So all you got to do is go over here and click to the far right and it says pin data. Now I've already pinned data over here, so that's why it said unpin. I'll go over here and run this again, and you'll see we have this, and it says pin data node will always output the current data instead of executing. So you pin it, this node will no longer run. It's always just going to assume that this is the correct data, and that's going to pass whatever is pinned into that next specific node. So two different approaches that you could take if you want to skip over a node. You could deactivate the node, or you could pin the particular data. Next, what we're going to do is take a look at additional notes. Now, personally, I like writing sticky notes all the time, especially with like documenting what is going on in a workflow. However, there is going to be some specific edge cases where, it's kind of nice to update the text down below. So what you can see is I just grabbed in edit image and blur. So it doesn't really matter what node you work with in particular, because this is going to be applied to everything overall. But you can see by default, we use edit image and blur is pasted down below. So you're wondering like, okay, well, we can change edit image pretty easily. Like all you got to do is change this, like we can say changed name. And a lot of people know how to do that. And I highly recommend you do that as well for any type of client work or any type of work that you want to go back towards in the future. And just because it makes things easy. You don't want to have like edit image 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to label these. But the text here at the bottom, how do you change that? Well, you got to go into your settings, and there's two things. Number one is you need to go into the notes. You need to write whatever note you want, and then you want to display note in flow. Personally, I find this not really useful on the notes side of things if you don't display it, because I feel like a sticky note would be better, because then you don't have to click into the particular node and you can just see like what is going on. If you guys aren't familiar with sticky notes, it's something like this. You can change colors of sticky notes, add in images, add in videos. It just missed the cut for this video because I have a full video showing you how to set up sticky notes and some really, really cool use cases. But regardless, text, all you got to do, go into the settings, notes, and then display note in flow. Lastly, what we're going to do is take a look at the summarize node. And the thing with the summarize node, a lot of people take a look at the summarize node and kind of neglect it. They think, hey, this is a node just for a data analyst. I'm not going to use this node. But really the summarize node, I use it a lot for formatting, especially if you have some items that you want to format and then put it on a specific email or put it in some sort of document. It's really, really cool. So let me show you how we could do that. So what I have over here is edit fields. I'm going to use the same exact Goose songs that we talked about a little bit earlier. I'm going to split it out. So then we have these 4 songs. And then I want to show you a few different ways that we could format this. So all you do is go into summarize, which to show you where summarize is, just search summarize. What happens next? It says sum, count, max, etc. across items. And again, a lot of people think this is a data node, but there's so much to it. And you click in and you can see aggregation. So one of the examples I use is concatenate. So all we do is drag this in for the songs, and then you can choose a specific separator. So what we'll do over here is a comma and a space. You can see there's a comma and a space between each of these specific items. You can go over here and just say, hey, I only want a comma. You can see how that looks. Although again, I prefer comma and space. Let's say you want to have everything on a new line. You can see we have new lines embedded in over here with that /n. That's what it means, new line across the board. You can also say none, you could space, or you can even set your own custom separator. So like, let's say I want to just put a bunch of dashes like this. You have that customization option over here. And this is a really, really cool node. And like a lot of other stuff I've talked about as well, you can see that there's also append over here. If you want to do data stuff, there's average, count, count unique, max, min, sum. I have a full video talking about summarize. It's a node people just skip over for whatever reason, but there's just so much that you could use with it and really simplifies the need, because unfortunately, I see a lot of people, they will go and build out a specific code node. And instead of just using the summarize node, they'll use the code node and they'll have some complicated code and it might break in some specific use cases. And really, it could have just been done with a summarize node. If you can use the native nodes in N8N and simplify the code, that's kind of the way to go in my personal opinion. But regardless, those are 7 different N8N hacks that I think will save you guys some time. I know a lot of people aren't talking about this here on YouTube, and hopefully that you found this video valuable. So again, just to quickly recap, multiple items, you can use a code node. You could also just use edit set and then split that out. You have that focus panel within the AI agent. You can also expand out in different ways, whether it's the AI agent or the edit fields or whatever else it is. If you want to get a binary image in N8N, you can do this with the HTTP request quite easily. 2 different ways that you could deactivate your node. Well, not in particular deactivate, but skip over a node. You can either deactivate it or you could pin data. Then we talked about, changing this additional text here at the bottom if that is specifically required. I just wouldn't keep a note in the node. I would just leave notes up over here. And lastly, the really powerful summarize node, which really allows you to transform your data. I hope that you guys found this video valuable. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Listen, we have 60 plus N8N videos already on the channel. There's a lot more that I want to make. So if you have a video that I'm missing, let me know either down below in the description, or not description, but the comment section, or let me know on School. Happy to make it, try and make 3+ N8N videos a week. And I will catch you guys in another video. See ya.